Life is a journey, and wherever you want to go is dependent on the journey you take. You may wish to go somewhere, but not land somewhere. The reason is, if the journey you took does not lead to where you intend to go. And there is a master sojourner who had traveled before, and then I would want us to study his journey. He traveled into God. He went far into God, to the heart of God, where even Bible now recorded him as one who was after the heart of God. And who is this sojourner? David, as we all know. David, again and again, we saw that he cried for an encounter. From time to time, he kept seeking for an encounter. So I think one of the best persons we can use to portray this particular journey and to draw the map into God for us would be David. So let's first of all see the purpose for which he made this journey, because every journey must have a purpose. Let's see what prompted him, what was the encouragement, what was the motivation that led to him making this particular journey. And so I invite us to join me in the book of Psalms chapter 42. We'll just take verse 1, verse 2, and verse 3. And I believe this will introduce us into the reason for which he actually decided to make this journey. Well, once again, I welcome you again to the book release. This is just an introduction training. The book release, My Journey to the Deep, through which we'll be drawing a map with the guidelines of David to see how far we can go in God through this journey. Okay, let's go back to our scriptures as I read for us. Psalms 42, verse 1. As the hart panteth after the water brooks, so pants my soul after thee, O God. So you could see what David was saying. David said, there is a hart, and as the hart do pants for water brooks, so also my soul is panting and sinking and seeking after God. And if you were to compare my seeking with God, you would best compare it with the heart that is seeking after God. And then he said, my own desire is to meet with God. Okay, so let's continue. Verse 2 says, my soul tasted for God, for the living God. So what he was really interested in is an encounter with God. He wanted to meet up with God. That was why he continued and said, when shall I come and appear before God? So this actually is a psalm that is showing longing for an encounter. He was desiring to encounter God. He was desiring to encounter God. And so when shall I appear before God? This particular journey was not a journey that was made to just receive the blessings of God and give the free things that come from God. No. This particular journey was a journey to have a personal encounter with God, until he could meet with God, until he could relate with God, until there is this relationship with God. I believe you know God is omnipresent. So which means at the time David was actually making this cry, God was there. But just that presence was not what David was looking for. David was looking for something beyond. But why did he have to cry like this? Why wet his bed every night? Why wake up in the morning and then he's crying, and all he could do, he said, my tears have become my food. In verse 3, let me just verse 3 say, my tears have been my meat day and night. David was so much crying for this encounter that he stopped eating, and the tears alone, the pain alone, the agony alone were his encounter. Why? It was because of the question that was asked him. Let's see what the question is. He said, my tears have been my food, my meat day and night. Why they continually say unto me, where is thy God? You see, that question was the question that made David to make this travel. That question, where is my God? They looked at the life of David and they could not find God. Well, they could find his blessings. He was a king, of course, and then there were other things that pertain to the blessings to the blessing, but they looked to him and they could not find God. There are times where even we will look to ourselves and you know that for this period, this God is not really that close to me. I've not been in that deep relationship. So for that reason, David decided to make a journey. If we were to reference to Psalm 63, when he said, I have seen thy power and thy glory, so I desire such an encounter, just as I've seen it in the power and the glory in the sanctuary. David wanted to have God with him, just as he was in the sanctuary. I want to remind you that the glory that was in the sanctuary, in the holies of holies, was very glorious. The effulgence of God in that place was very glorious, and that was what David was seeking after. That was what David sought after. I believe you will also seek after that. Well, this is just the introduction class. We'll be running the training from the next video, so get prepared for the training. You can now click to the next video. I'm arranging the playlist, so you will see the next video that starts the training proper. Welcome once again. We bless you, and God loves you. Thank you.